Welcome to the Snazzy Sage Podcast. I'm Dr. Kerry, your host and coach. Each week, I chat with inspiring guests who are thriving in their next chapter with confidence, purpose, and style. Because the next chapter isn't about age, it's about attitude. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to this amazing episode with my good friend, Al Callus. I am so excited for you to hear his story today. Welcome, Al. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you. Couldn't be better.
Grateful to see you. Al, could you share your story? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, let's see. I grew up in New York City in Washington Heights. And about 10 years old, I started delivering for a tailor shop, a local tailor shop. And then later on, I've been working all my life. And then about the same time, I went to see a magic shop in a ballroom or a theater on about 168th Street or somewhere around there. And there was a magician performing, and boy, was he fantastic. He had all kinds of colorful costumes, and he had a group of about 20 people working with him on the stage in those beautiful costumes. And he produced rabbits and birds and silk handkerchiefs and parasols. And it was just the most amazing thing I had ever seen. And then fortunately, for Christmas, I got a wonderful magic set. A friend of mine got the same set, and it had some professional tricks in it. One of them that, I've still been doing all my life, basically, the die box. And a friend in his building was a magician, an older man, and he told us about a magic club in New York City, sponsored by the Department of Parks. Guess who ran it? Shari Lewis's father.
Wow.
Shari Lewis was in it as well with us. We used to perform together in Central Park at the mall, big band shell. And anyway, there were some famous magicians throughout history who belonged to that club, including during my time there, Kenny Silverman, who won a Pulitzer Prize, who wrote the definitive biography of Harry Houdini, and Johnny Bravo, who owns the Houdini Museum today. And we had a great time. We learned magic. We learned lock picking. We learned fire eating. We learned juggling. We just had a wonderful time doing all of that. And an interesting thing happened. I had put together a magic show, and I was just a kid, but it wasn't a bad show. It was pretty good. And I asked the fellow who ran the club, he was from the park department, to book me. I needed experience with an audience. Anyway, I got to the show this particular day. It was a round Parks Department building in a park, and it had, 80, 100 kids sitting on the floor in front of me. And all young magicians do a trick. It's well known. It's called a milk pitcher. You take a newspaper, you fold it into a cornucopia, you pour a pitcher full of milk in it, and the milk vanishes. Well, I wanted to go beyond that. I saw in a magic catalog where the magician was burning the cornucopia to vanish the milk. What an idea. So I went to the magic shop and I bought something called flash paper. Now, most people don't know what that is, but flash paper is a chemically treated paper that when you light it, goes woof with a big flash of fire, and it doesn't leave an ash. Make records, and if the cops came, they would burn the whole thing up in a flash of fire. So anyway, I poured the milk. I'm doing the show. I poured the milk into the cornucopia. I let a few drops come out so people would really know it was in there. And then I lit the cone. You know what happened? It took off like a rocket ship into the audience.
Oh my God.
Kids were all sitting there. Fortunately, thank God, it flew above their heads. And in the back of the room, there must have been a draft because it spun around and came back at me. I was more startled than anybody else. I couldn't believe what was that. It burned out just as it got to me. There was thunderous applause, of course, the greatest trick in the world. And after the show, the guy in the green suit who ran the building came up to me and he said, "Hey, kid, I got to ask you a question." I said, "What's that?" He said, "That trick with the milk. How the hell did you do that?" I said, "Don't ever forget it because you're never going to see it again." So that was my inauguration in performing for audiences. And then I guess I was about 13 or 14, and a couple of pamphlets were published about a medicine show, doing a magical medicine show. I was enamored of this. I thought this was a great idea. And I put together an act with the help of those two pamphlets. I didn't use any of the tricks that were in one of the pamphlets, but I put together my own tricks. And I loved it. It was a spoof on the old medicine shows. That became my main thing. And then later on, of course, I finished school and I got drafted into the Army right at the end of the Korean War. And they sent me to, first I was down in Augusta, Georgia, and I did a television show. When they found out I was a magician, they put me in special services. And so that was my career in the Army. I was the Army's magician, like Barb Hope, only I was in the Army. I was a kid, 19, 20 years old. And I did a television show for the Army every Saturday night on WJBF TV in Augusta, Georgia, and did shows all around town, entertained in the Army bases, entertained in the officers' clubs, and just had a grand old time doing that. I took my college boards in Heidelberg to go to college. When I got out, I got a wonderful acceptance letter from Rutgers University. And so I was doing shows, but unfortunately, a lot of the shows were during the day. And that was a real problem because I was cutting class, to earn the money so I could go to class. And one day they had a day where recruiters from various companies came and interviewed us. I found out about a bank that was hiring a marketing director. I did the most amazing things. It was just the beginning when banks were starting to market. After 5 years there, that there was an opportunity in the ad agency field. So the agency that worked with us was just a very small 2-man agency. But I joined it. I took it. I went on the road selling our services to banks. Eventually, I had gotten 40 banking organizations. We also handled the New Jersey Nets, the New Jersey Devils, the Cosmos, the soccer team, Jersey Generals was an alternate football league. So we did all that. It was a wonderful career. I was there 34 years, and we did all kinds of amazing things. Anyway, I retired at age 62. It's a killer business. It's a wonderful business, but a very difficult business. And I retired and went back into magic a very big way. I really, really got involved strongly. I wound up lecturing to magicians, teaching to magicians, appearing at magic conventions as a lecturer and a performer. I would travel around and go to various magic clubs all over the country. I'm very good at sleight of hand. I spent a lot of time performing in country clubs. Anyway, I did magic for many years. And then at one point, I developed a tremor in my hands. It's not a serious thing, except that your hands shake. And eventually, as like right now, my hands really shake. Past month has been a problem for me. That was the end of my magic career. 75 years of performing magic. It was the toughest moment in my life.
I bet.
Really tough giving that up. And about a year before that, there are magicians who meet secretly. They're not members of clubs. They're just a group of 5 or 8 or 7 really good magicians, usually really good, professional, semi-professional. And I was a member of one of those groups. And I said to the guys one night, I'm an old guy now. When I walk into a room, they don't know what to expect. They see this old guy walking in the room. So what should I do? Maybe I should tell a few jokes. Maybe I would say, I always thought getting old was something that happened to other people. And, things like that. So the consensus was, that's fine, I'll do it, but don't make a big deal out of it. Don't do too much. About the same time, I heard about a comedy class. And I went to the comedy class and developed an act. Actually, they had you work on 3 minutes. And I got my 3 minutes, and it was at the Meisner Park Comedy Club. This was the Lees brothers who did this. And it was a wonderful room. It sat like, I think, 150 people or 200 people. Terrific room to perform in, good audiences. And they had our class perform there one night. So I got up and I did my thing, and it went over really well. And
That's great.
I thought, wow, this is terrific. This is fun. Funny is fun. This is absolutely great. I would go before the show and go table to table and do magic. So I became great friends with these two fellas, and I got booked in a number of their venues. And then the class I took with you, is that Michael Penzica?
Yes.
Class
Yep.
in the library.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Mike and I became very good friends. And he liked what I did too. And it used to be Perry Sack, Michael, and me. And he called it the stand-up guys.
I remember that.
Yeah. And we performed a lot together. Last year, I developed a new routine that I absolutely love to do. It's I come out, just picture this, of course. Now, I'm 90, 91 years old doing this. And I come out with a roll of toilet paper in my hands. This old guy walks up to the microphone with a roll of toilet paper. And that's funny in itself, right? And I don't say anything. I just scan the audience and I say, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this guy's got a problem, a hell of a problem. And I can see as I look over the audience tonight that most, if not all of you, hoarded toilet paper during the pandemic. And that's why I'm here tonight, to warn you that when toilet paper gets 2, 3, 4 years old, a major change takes place in its chemical composition. It becomes highly volatile, flammable, explosive. And I go on with this routine. And what happens is the toilet paper blows up into a big splash of fire. Really a cool routine. Fortunately, I don't have it recorded. I wish I somewhere along the line. And maybe one of these days, that'll happen. I'll record it. The amazing thing with all of this is that I am totally amazed that I've been able to do this. It astounds me. It just, I can't get over it. I look at videos. I have a number of videos on YouTube. Callus with a U, Callus, comedian.
In your stand-up comedy routine, what are some of the subjects that you talk about?
Well, my first thing that I did the first 3 minutes was about family. I also wrote another piece about being old, about going back in the old days. I knew Joan of Arc. Didn't care for she had an attitude. And, I talked about being at the Last Supper. Actually, it was a brunch. But they didn't want to call it the last late brunch. It just didn't have a ring to it.
Al, I love your sense of humor and how you've weaved some of your magic tricks into your comedy routine. Can you share a little bit more about some of your favorite magic tricks?
I did something called the miser's dream, where you take a pail, you show there's nothing in it to bang on it, show people nothing. And you reach up and catch a $50 out of the air, throw it in a pail, and it clangs. You can hear it going. Then I would catch another one, throw it in, another one. Then I would get somebody up from the audience, and I'd have them reach out to catch a coin. They'd reach out, they'd close their hand out. I'd say, now throw it in the bucket. They'd throw it in the bucket. You'd hear it clang into the bucket. Then I'd reach up to their nose and a whole stream of $50 would come out of their nose. Very cute routine, just lots of laughs, good audience participation, always a winner. I did a lot of close-up magic. Most people have never seen a magician perform a couple feet away from them. And they're amazed. They can't believe. They say, when you do the magic, they say, I'm standing right here. I'm looking at your hands. How did you do that? How could you possibly do that? And incidentally, one of the comments I used to get at most of the shows would be, if it were a man and woman together, the guy would inevitably say, Al, can you make my wife disappear? And I would say, because I was a smart guy, I would say, how can you possibly want to make the most beautiful woman in the room disappear? And with that, I get a hug and a kiss. Other times I would say, I'm from New Jersey. I can arrange that.
Those are quick comebacks. And I know magicians can never give away their secrets, but if someone wanted to learn to be a magician, how would they go about it today?
Well, today, people learn a lot of magic from YouTube. Interesting. It used to be books. I have a collection of about 400 magic books. I have a collection of maybe 600 DVDs and tapes of magicians performing and lecturing. The best way of going about it is to find out if there's a magic club in the area. The Society of American Magicians has magic clubs all over the place. There are a couple of different groups that have magic clubs all over the country, and in fact, all over the world. So joining a magic club is a great way to be mentored and to learn magic.
So, Al, where have you performed as a magician?
I performed in a lot of country clubs, wedding parties, engagement parties, say at that old theater in Boonton, at a lot of private parties, just all over the place. I performed on the best cruise ship in the world. And yeah, just everywhere imaginable. The big difference is that magicians get paid a lot. Comedians don't. There's no money in comedy.
Zero.
And that was tough for me to come to terms with. I was used to getting paid and paid an amount. And today it's amazing. Today my friends are getting $900, $1,500, $2,500 to do a show. Sometimes $7,500.
Magicians.
Do a magician doing a 2-hour walk around show. In comedy, there's no money. And I had trouble coming to terms with that. But then I said, you know what? This is like a hobby. And even though I'm performing, I got to get money out of my mind. And it's interesting because early on in my life, I realized the value and the importance of money. And you don't have any freedom. You can't do anything without money. You're paralyzed. So I started working, as I said, when I was 10. And I worked performing magic up until I was 85. And as a result, we've been able to be fortunate enough to live a nice life and be fortunate where I can spend the winters in Florida and the summers up here, which is great.
So, Al, what's next for you?
What's next? I love watching some good movies, and I have a big collection of magic tapes that I watch and videos that I like to watch. I love reading. So I do that. Looking forward to going back down to Florida. I play a lot of golf down there. They just redid one of our courses, and it's absolutely fabulous. And I play 3-4 days a week down in Florida. So I don't know. Life goes on. Life is good. My son lives in town, lives nearby, and he's 5 minutes away here. And he comes over for dinner once or twice a week, which is fabulous.
Al, what's your go-to style piece?
Well, for many years, I wore a tuxedo. Magicians wore tuxedos. In the summer, and when it's warm here in New Jersey, I wear a golf shirt and shorts very, very often. In the agency business, of course, I always wore a suit and a tie all the time. My wife would say you practically sleep in a suit and tie, but constantly. So, style-wise, what is it? Today, it's to be comfortable. And I had a problem trying to decide what to wear in comedy. Because comedians most guys look like they slept in the streets. I said, what the hell am I going to do with this? So I went out and I bought a pair of sneakers, and I decided that I wouldn't dress sloppily. I wouldn't wear a T-shirt. I've never worn T-shirts in my life, actually.
You're always well dressed every time I saw you.
Thank you. And I wouldn't do that. So what I do, I wear long pants. I wear conservative sneakers, but sneakers nevertheless. I wear a shirt, and inevitably I wear a sweater. So I look relaxed and casual.
Thank you so much for your time today. Excited to share your story with the world.
Thank you. This was a delight.
Thank you for tuning in to Snazzy Sage. If you loved today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Want to elevate your style and confidence? Visit snazzyandSage.com to explore individual and group coaching that helps you look and feel your best from the inside out. Until next time, stay snazzy.